History Channel's Alone. Do you watch it? Are you excited about the new season? I think the new one is in Africa this time. I've watched every season of Alone so far, and today I would like to just have a talk about it. Let's get into it. Are you a fan of the show Alone? In my last video, I kind of touched on the subject of that show. I was just laughing at one guy who got kind of tired and threw a net into a tree. But yeah, I thought I'd do a full video just talking about that show. What would you call this? A retrospective analysis, review, whatever. I just want to talk about the TV show, and then maybe next video we'll talk about something else. Suggestions in the comments would be great. Maybe a zombie show or something. For anyone who's unfamiliar with the show Alone, it's the best show for getting as close to reality as you can with survival. If you don't know, like, a bunch of contestants get dropped in to the wilderness. They can bring 10 items. Usually they've got a bow and something to make fire, a knife, some clothing, fishing gear, random things like that. And there's no cameramen. That's the best thing about the show. The contestants are the cameramen. They got GoPros, trail cameras they stick on trees. Every now and again someone will come to do a health check on them because they start starving straight away, and I guess they give them like spare batteries for all the cameras. I think there's like 3, maybe 4 main reasons why people leave the show, and I think the first one is always it's food. Like, once they run out of food, their personality changes, fear will kick in, or they could become too unhealthy. If they're like stubborn, the doctors will just take them out of the game. If you want to leave the game, they just have to press a button on a satellite phone type thing, and then they're out. The second thing I think is the name of the show, Alone. When they're too alone, they'll tap out, but I don't know. Ooh, could I? Oh, let's save it for later. I think they tap out when they're too alone, but usually they're hungry as well, so it's kind of, I don't know. I've never seen someone who has a load of food and say, I just want to go home. The third reason is injury, and then fourth, I'd say, is fear. Some people just didn't expect to see what they see when they get there. Like, any fans of the show will remember Desmond. He was the guy who said, when they the camera crew were at his house before he goes into the show, he said, if I get into it with a bear, people better come in, step in and save the bear. And then when he went on the show, he got off the boat, got onto the beach, seen some bear shit in the woods, and was like, oh shit, that's bear scat everywhere. Tried to move himself a little bit down the beach, fell asleep for 2 hours, woke up and pressed the button to leave. The boat that dropped him off probably wasn't even cooled down. They had to come back and pick him up. He didn't even see a bear. He just seen their shit. But I'm not saying I'm any better. I'm scared of bears. In fact, I'm in a little Facebook group when I moved into this. I'm only living here a little while, but when I moved into this house, I joined a local Facebook group, and they said there was a bear near the road that's near me. It was kind of far away, but still, I went straight out and bought bear mace. It's in the house, you never know. But yeah, it's one of my favorite shows. I'll sit there drinking pizza. Nope, I'll be drinking beer, eating pizza, and sitting on the couch shouting at all these people on TV as they starve, telling them how they should do stuff. I don't watch sports, so that's the nearest thing to it. And I remember there was I always wonder if they are real legit survivalists, or are they just kind of showing off. I remember there was one guy who looked like He looked like your stereotypical white Jesus, you know. He totally looked like Jesus. He came in with a lumberjack shirt on. Started giving it the big one, yapping about what he was doing, and I just didn't like him from the start. And then at some point he lost his ferro rod, that sparky thing to make a fire. He like dropped it in some shit and buried it or something. And then he had this moment of like, should I go home or should I stay? And he decided to try and make fire himself, and he made it. And I started to like him then. I was like, okay, he's actually doing some proper survival kind of stuff. And then he started like making pull-up bars and doing exercises and doing all this lifting stuff, and I thought, yeah, if he's doing this, he's probably going to go home. He's starting to show off that he's, you know, getting some footage for his Instagram or something. And sure enough, he kind of said, and this coincides with him, like the fish drying up that he was getting. He got hungry and then all of a sudden started exercising like crazy, and then off he goes. He taps out, and it always makes me wonder, like, what would he have done? Because I was starting to think he could win the show. What would he? I think his name was Randy. Do you remember this guy? He started to, he left. But I was wondering, like, what would he have done if he wasn't hungry? Would he have gone the whole way? Which also makes me think about, it's a TV show. It's a game show, basically. You know, let's get some meat here. Let's give this a poke the bear. It's a TV show, like, oh shit. It's like there's rules. So like, there's certain animals you're not allowed to kill while on the show. Like, and there's certain seasons you can't use a fish trap. There's those traps that are illegal, you know, those ones you can make into with a bunch of sticks at the edge of the water in an M shape. Fishes swim in, they can't come back out. They're illegal apparently. There's a bunch of stuff like that. So yeah, I reckon he would have kept going. Don't know. Which makes me think about, ooh. Oh, I've got two things chasing me now. Great. Might be time to take out old Betsy here. Right. What does it make me think about? It makes me think about, the kind of like the shit hit the fan scenario that like wilderness people and preppers always talk about. I don't think there is a proper example of it, unless you're looking at people in some third world country where disaster strikes, but you're not going to make a TV show of that. There is this, speaking of like rules and what have you, there's this other TV show that I was watching, I forget the name of it, but I remember the family though. They're called the Hailstones, and there's a guy, oh shit, there's a guy over there. There's a guy called Chip Hailstone, but he married an Inuit, and Inuits are allowed, you know, bonk seals over the head or harpoon a whale. So his kids and his wife are allowed to do this, but he's not. But in a shit hit the fan situation, I'm sure they'd be fine. That show also had, what's her name? Susan Akins. I'm blanking on the name of the show. And she like takes care of an airport, like so many miles above the Arctic Circle. Not an airport, but an airstrip for like research people. And a bear was chomping on her head at some point, and she like recovered and then went straight back to that airstrip. Which is like, she's a kick-ass woman. She's not too young. But she became kind of animalistic. Like, she never calls her hands hands. She calls them paws. Same with her feet. She won't call her arse or arse. She calls it a tail. She even wears fake, like, wolf or fox ears or something on her head. And I remember she was talking about society and how she doesn't like it, that she did her time there and she's happy out here by herself. I don't know what kind of issues are going on there, but anyway, that's a different show and a different video maybe. But what were we talking about? Ways that people left the show. Injuries. Have you? I don't know if I think it was the recent season. There was a guy on it, and I got serious LARPer vibes from him. And he was like giving it the big one, giving it a load of talk. And if you watch the show, you'll see a lot of GoPro footage, like from their chest. So you get used to seeing them holding a bow out. And you see all their arrows are kind of where this guy's hand is. They're attached to the bow. And all the arrows are always pointing downwards. And this guy was the only guy that would have all the arrows pointing upwards. And I remember early thinking, probably shouldn't be having those arrows pointing up. They're they're weapons. They're steel tipped weapons. And then at some stage he's walking through some thick brush and the brush knocked an arrow off. It falls down, and it's not funny, but it's kind of funny. He steps on it, like he puts the weight of his leg onto it, and he's kind of a bigger, chunky lad. So it ripped through all of his thick skin, like kind of beside his knee. And yeah, he had to be taken out of the show. So that was another way you can be. It's kind of rare that it happens. You get taken out of a show that way. But I imagine that guy going home and saying, I could have won that show alone. That $500,000 could have been mine, but I took an arrow to the knee. That's not funny. But yeah, who did it? I don't want to talk about it. Did you do it to yourself? Shut up. I remember somebody else, they were kind of tired. This is the reason people leave. Always lack of food and lack of thinking straight from lack of food. She was just chopping sticks for her fire, just casually doing her usual stuff. Axe down in the hand, and that's her out. Shit, wait to leave the show. But yeah, I don't know if she could have, like if it was a shit hit the fan situation, not a TV show, you're not gonna just, have a rescue boat come get you. You'd have to stay there, stitch up that hand, maybe get disease later, maybe not, who knows. You just have to get used to it. Yeah, again, I'm no expert. I don't know what the hell I would do in that situation. I am, oh shit, don't want to deal with him. Let's go back over this way. When I moved here, I moved just a few years ago from Ireland, where there's nothing scary over there besides people. Well, I moved to Texas, and I was completely out of my comfort zone. Snakes, scorpions, and spiders. Oh my. We seen brown recluses in the bathroom sink. A tarantula came out of a table at one point, and it hissed at me. Apparently, some spiders can hiss. I had to look this up because I thought I was going mad. But yeah, scorpions. One of them fell on my neck as I was having breakfast. On the back of my neck. Like I feel like it fell off the ceiling. I'm not sure. But yeah, I had that moment of, oh, fuck this, let me out of here. If I could tap out, press a button, and go, I would have. But, we had just put all our money into this move. It cost a lot to move ship all our stuff in a boat across the ocean. That costs a lot. So we were screwed. So you just have to go, okay, let's deal with it. And how I dealt with it was I went on a Facebook group and asked locals, what do you do here? And it turns out the locals to me were all like, what the fuck, scorpions? Fuck that, I'm packing up and leaving. There was a lot of that talk, which didn't help. But there were some locals that told me what to do. The problem was I was living in a suburb that just recently got built. Brand new house. Someone came along and just leveled the ground and made a suburb. Well, I say leveled, it was Texas. It's already flat. But yeah, they knocked down all the trees, so all the snakes and insects and what have you were like, well, we still live here, so they'd go into my house. And yeah, I had to deal with it after a while. I started to see scorpions as regular house spiders. I noticed that they didn't want to have anything got to do with me. Either did snakes either, even though there was some proper venomous or poisonous, whatever, whichever one snakes are there. There was a guy who, we called in a guy to cut the grass because it was crazy. And he just told me that he had chopped up a copperhead. I was like, they're not supposed to be here. And he told me how to deal with snakes. He showed me that you put a shovel down. The snake goes across the handle. You stamp on the shovel. And the snake flies in the air. And then when it lands, it's stunned. And then you chop it in half with the shovel. And he showed me this in action. And I was like, okay, I guess I do this. And like, sure, half my brain is going to go back to Ireland where St. Paddy got rid of all the snakes. or it's like, okay, you got to do this. I have kids and I want them getting bit by snakes. So I did it. Well, I say I did it. The first one, I went over the handle and I stood on it and I launched it into the neighbor's back garden. So it became their problem. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that on video. But yeah, after a while it became kind of okay. It's not a survival situation. I'm in a nice air-conditioned house, but I still had to deal with scorpions and stuff. I ended up going fucking scorched earth, bought all the chemicals. I was there for 2 years. It was a non-stop invasion for a year, and then I spilled chemicals all around the house, sprayed it once a month, and after a while, not a peep. The whole second year I didn't see one spider, scorpion, or snake. Come to think of it, I didn't. The neighbor's dog was quiet. No. Alright, let's get my ass back to base. Which one is my base? That's mine. That's it. That's the neighbor's. Okay. Oh shit. Oh no. Look at this dude coming down here with a helmet and bare chest. I'll give him bullets. What am I out of? I'm out of stamina. Let's have some of this and some of this. One of these. Yeah, since last episode I demolished that base and moved inland so I can get around. Like, this is my new base now. And I've got a bigger kind of area to explore and get stuff to scavenge. Scavengers assemble. Oh, I'll take this. Yeah, I felt like, yeah, I could totally live here in Texas. And it was okay. The only thing that got to me was the heat. So we moved and now we live in northern Colorado, which comes with a whole different set of problems. There's actually more tarantulas and I've seen more snakes here than I did there, but nowhere near my house. Anyway, yeah, I felt like I had become not one with the land or anything, but I knew how to live in that area. And in Alone, you have those people sometimes. You get these characters who are all like, you know, a bit preachy about nature. They're like giving out that humans do this and humans do that and animals are all the shit. But like, they're fully aware they're on a game show and they're only going to be there a while. I remember there was one woman called Nicole, I think, and she was cool. Like, she was doing great. Again, up until she ran out of food. I noticed after a while she was saying things like, the birds have stopped chirping at me. They're familiar with me, and the bears are leaving me alone. They stay over there and I stay over here. And she was catching fish like crazy, and sometimes just like letting the fish go, because she had so much. But like a proper survival situation, you're not letting any of that stuff go. You're keeping it all. You need to get some fat, any fat you can get. But yeah, the fish stopped coming at some point, and that was it. All of a sudden, she got super emotional. I remember there was like this scene during the night. She just started kind of, oh my god, oh no, all this kind of stuff. Like, you couldn't see anything. It was just black. It was just the audio. I didn't know if she was slapping the head off the man in the canoe or getting attacked or what. But then the next day, she went to catch a fish, couldn't catch which one, and went, fuck it, tapped the button, and then kind of claimed like she might have had an MS attack. Yeah, she had MS. And she was like, I need to leave. My kid misses me. I need to go see my kid. Like, she had lost a kid, and she was like, I need to go see my other kid. But like, you knew your kid was there and your kid is okay. I think it was the food. I'm not sure. Those bears and birds that she thought she was friends with. If she used to slow down from tiredness, those birds would peck her eyeballs out. A bear would eat her ass. Animals don't give back to the land. There was this other guy that I remember really well, except I don't remember his name. And he came second on one of the seasons. And he was kind of angry from the get-go. I don't think he had a wife, he had daughters. And he was always getting angry and throwing shit around and getting mad. He was blaming everything. The tools, the location he was put in. Giving out about mice, dampness, all this kind of stuff. I remember like at one point thinking, ooh, this guy's got daughters. What kind of life are they experiencing? Stuff like that. And then the show slowly humbled him. Like, he started to figure shit out. Ooh. Get out of that. Yeah, the show humbled him, and he was like, when he got like a tiny bit of steady food coming in, all of a sudden this humor came out of him, and he was like hilarious, and I liked him a hell of a lot more. He was just in a stressful situation, and he was like one of these like really good achievers, you know, was used to winning and coming first place and stuff, and you know, I don't know, real fucking go-getter. But he came second. And yeah, at some point he realized that he had to change his life a lot, and I thought that was cool. And then when he tapped out, I think the person won like the next day or something, and which was probably for the best, because I reckon if this guy won, he wouldn't have learned all the lessons. He wouldn't have kept them, you know. He would have been like, yeah, I knew I was hot shit. Back to being a mad bastard. I forget his name, damn it. Yeah, so I did a few things from the last base. It was just a foundation. I got a few things. I got the Jenny, I got the proper fire, a refinery to melt all the metals, and 2 crop plots which I need to put seeds in. Yeah, alone. Now I'm alone. I can have a look who else is on the map. Now that's dark. Somebody's over here. Somebody's over there, close enough to me. That was that guy with the helmet on, I guess. Somebody's over here. We have hunters turned on now. A few people have entered the server since that last video, which is cool. There's more people to play with. There was this season of Alone that I was really excited about. It was called Duels or something, so it wasn't so alone. They had like a family member or a friend or something with them. They were competing in pairs, and I thought, okay, this is good. We'll see how long they last, because I think the record is 100 days that somebody got, and they get told when they're entering this thing to clear your schedule for a year. So no one's made it a year. So I thought duels, if anything, they have each other to talk to, they'll be able to go further. And if anything, they lasted less time. And I have a few theories on that. I think if you get negative or hungry, you have to like, you know, try and hold it together yourself. But if you got somebody else saying this sucks, you're going to agree with them and go, yeah, this sucks. So I think two minds can easily like twist your arm and make you press the button. Then you realize you twisted your own arm way easier. Not too sure. But I sometimes wonder, like, the people who were missing their family, if they had like a kid, I wonder what would happen if it was like a parent and kid situation. Would the parental thing kick in where they all of a sudden start providing better and doing better on the show? I don't know. What do you think? The sky looks great tonight. The what do you call it? David Boreanaz. Let's do a spot of fishing. Yeah. A lot of the contestants for Alone are. Oh, we got a fish already. A lot of the contestants are like, they have these YouTube channels where they teach survival, or they're like survival teachers in real life to do classes or whatever. And I always wonder what happens to them when they lose, especially if they lose early. You know, can I have this fish now? Ugh. Looks like I caught it, but fell in. That's hypothermia. I'd be kicked off the show Alone straight away. I'd have to kick myself off because I'm freezing to death. But yeah, I always wonder, like, do they? I doubt they close their YouTube channels and go, I couldn't make it, or does people give them shit like, you failed, you're no survival teacher? I don't know. There is this guy. I remember his name because it sounds like a sentence. Greg Ovens, I think that's his name. Or else I read it wrong and it was Owens. But yeah, this guy, he's still, I see his face popping up on YouTube now and again. I've never watched his videos, but when he turned up on Alone, I thought, haha, this might sound kind of judgy, but he was, just by purely by looks, I thought, this guy's got some like ex-alcoholic, homeless, hobo type vibes. If anybody knows how to survive sitting out in the cold, it's probably this guy. He looks like he spent a couple of nights in a cardboard box, if you know what I mean. And so this guy was Canadian, and he was hilarious. He's like really well liked by everybody on the show. He was invited back for like a second attempt at it, and they brought back a few people, probably because he was like so liked. But yeah, similar thing happened to him. He went a little bit hungry at one point and started making some mistakes. Got water in his boots, couldn't dry them, couldn't get fires going because he was in a damp kind of area, and got worried about not getting the heat into him. Ooh, let me sit up here beside my fire now that I'm thinking about it. See, I fucking really love to immerse myself. Just talking about this, I'm feeling cold, even though it's a hot summer's day here. But yeah, that guy left. He tapped out. I forget for what reason. But when he came back a second time, he tapped out even earlier, and I kind of wanted him to tap out because, oh, I like the guy. I didn't want him to get kind of like, he was saying he had a slow recovery from the first time being on, and he didn't want to get hypothermia again. So that makes me think he got it the first time, and yeah, he didn't get taken out from like medical or anything. There was this guy who got taken out from, I was so sad, I hated it. There was a guy who came in and he looked cool. He looked like Gillette Man, you know, one of these guys off the ads. Looked cool, but he wasn't. He didn't have a bunch of weight on him. He was, you know, trim. And he tried to play it clever. He was catching loads of fish. He was smoking them. Dave was his name. He was catching loads of fish. He was smoking them. He had this little hobbit house, and he decided not to eat them. He was kind of gone full keto, or, you know, what's the thing? Caveman diet. And yeah, he got taken out. Doctors came and said, "You're way too skinny," and he was. Like, he looked completely different. You could tell this guy was I don't know, he might have had history as a model or something, because every time he looked at the camera of himself, he was like, who's this guy? What's the hell? Grey hair? You know, he was annoyed that he couldn't brush his teeth. You know, he had perfect set of chompers. But yeah, by the end of the thing, he looked like Smeagol. He was just, you know, bent over in his little hobbit house eating fish. Gollum. But they had kicked him off, and he was like, I have fish, I have food. And they're like, yeah, you should have eaten it. You're out. and I felt bad for him. He also came back, did a second season, and quickly was like, nope, I'm not going hungry. I know how hard the recovery is. I'm not putting myself through it, which is interesting because they come in going, I would love that $500,000, and then just go, I don't like what it does to my health. I'm out. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, if he had just kept on eating that food, I think he could have went the whole way. Just stayed above weight. Which makes me think of the guy who won season 1, if anybody's watched that. What's his name? Alan, I want to say. This guy came in like Baloo the bear. His voice sounded like whoopie-doo. And I don't think he even made a structure. Like, I think he found a hollowed out cave or a massive tree or something. It was some kind of little hollow. Because he was like, I don't want to spend calories. From the get-go, his plan was, like, just don't lose weight. That's season 1, so that's pretty good. Like, and he didn't. He made a little fire. He had a little pot. And he'd get up every day. Like, he couldn't even stand in this thing. He was just lying down inside of a log like an animal. And he'd walk down to this like little river beach type thing where he'd find seaweed and just eat this seaweed. Of course, he caught some food here and there, but mostly he was just eating seaweed and losing weight and losing weight. But he started with so much, like, he was still healthy. He entered fat and he left fat with a fat bank account. Yeah. Food, I think food is, I think food is definitely the key, because like there was a few which kind of proves my theory that it's just purely food and not just family, missing your family, because you must know, if you're a fan of the show, you must know this guy Jordan. This is a guy who took down a moose, got a moose kill. Like, this guy's I think he's a hunter for his job. Like, he took down a moose, so he had hundreds of pounds of meat. He was doing great, and he was happy the whole time. There was no moments of stupidity with him. He was buzzing. He felt like he was on a holiday. In fact, there was like, the only negative thing I heard out of him was, he said, I was afraid that when this happened, when I got this moose, I was going to have to skin it myself. His problem was finding where to put the meat so it doesn't go off, like how to store it and keep it, and having to skin it, which I understand, because I play Red Dead and I skin mooses all the time. And yeah, I know exactly what he's what he's gone through. Takes like a whole 5 seconds skinning a moose, and I'm still like, come on, this cutscene is too long. But yeah, Jordan, he totally won. It was obvious he was going to win, and when his like loved one comes to tap him on the shoulder at the end, be like, you won. Congrats, honey, we're going home, type thing. He was disappointed. I remember him saying, but I have so much to do. Wait, what? I won? Okay. Guess we'll go home. Yeah, so I don't think there was missing family as much as the other people. He was never going to leave from being alone unless he ran out of food. Am I wrong? Am I mad? And that wasn't the only example. There was Roland, I think his name was. The guy that got the record, the 100 days. They introduced a new rule. It wasn't just who lasts the longest. It was like, if you last... Because I think they really wanted people to stay out there a year. It wasn't just who lasted the longest. It was like, you have to beat everybody and get past 100 days type thing. And I think, yeah, everyone had left, but he still needed to make it to that 100 days. He doesn't know this, of course, but he took down some big animal, a musk ox or something, and that was cool. Spoiler if you haven't watched it, but he used his last 2 hours or something, and the thing kept on going, and he just had to take out his knife and go after this thing. It looked cool because he had to set up a camera and film this, so it's a stationary camera, you know, and You would just see him like run in from the right to the left, take a slash with a knife, run across again, like something out of an anime show or something. And eventually the thing bled out, and he had a load of food. Similar thing, he made his house out of stone. This clever piggy made a house of stone, and yeah, he had a load of food. And then he took out something else, like a porcupine or something. At the end, like he got some fresh meat in, and yeah, happy and buzzing the whole way. I remember on the show he talked about he had just come from Siberia, and I think it was Siberia anyway, and he didn't speak the language, so even though there's people around him, he felt alone. And then on the show he didn't feel alone because he had a camera with him, and he was, you know, able to talk English and get his thoughts out and all this kind of stuff, which I can really relate with. That's why I started this channel. That's why I'm doing this. I'm just like, I've got a family here I can talk to and what have you, but I lost my social circle when I moved from Ireland over to here. And yeah, I've made friends like on Twitch and what have you, and yeah, it's starting to build it back up again. But yeah, that's why I started this channel, just to practice flapping the jaw. You can go back and watch my first video. I think it's my first video. It's labeled my first month on Twitch. Thinking about it now, it's cringy as fuck, because I've had a few people tell me like, oh, you feel better now and all this stuff, and I wasn't trying to make it sound all sappy, but yeah, it came across more sad than I actually am in that video, which I wasn't going for. But yeah, anyway, enough of that crap. Back to Alone. What else are we shouting about? Alone. Yeah, Roland. Yeah, the record. I would love to see them go away more than 100 days. Like, I know they originally wanted to get them to go a year. I don't know if they could, because I think they'd be too unhealthy. See, they don't give anyone a gun. If you had a gun, game changer. They'd go hiking, you know? They'd just go out far from their hut or whatever, however long it takes, till they find something walking on four legs, and then bam! They may not be able to carry all that stuff back to base, but like in a survival situation, and it's not against the rules, you know, they would waste that meat. You know, they're paying for like $500,000 or $1 million. Which kind of bugs me when I see that in other shows. I see this a lot. I don't know if it's the editor's fault or whatever, but you'll see people will go out for a big hike, get something, kill it, fill up a backpack with as much meat as they can, which is like a tiny percentage of the meat of an animal, and then pack it up and go. And they take the head. They always take the head or the antlers or something. And if they're not going to show that person going back to get all the meat, then it gives you the impression they were just trophy hunting, which I'm totally against. You know, because that's bad. But yeah, I would love to see a Roland versus Jordan. You know, get the two of them on the same show, like in the same season. See how many days they get. Would they get to like 200? Like, they may not get to the whole year. I don't know. Be curious to see. Yeah, I like. It's really hard to make a TV show like about survival, because survival, you do anything to survive. Like, in reality, if you were like, you know, fending for your life, and they're making a TV show, that guy comes to swap the batteries out, you just bonk him over the head and throw him in a pot. Cancelled, season 1. That reminds me of this other show I used to watch called Colony. It was kind of an experiment. They got like a handyman, a scientist, a weather person or something, a priest, all these different kind of characters from different. It was like a computer game. They were like, get all these different people, put them together, and they had like actors and role players and all this kind of stuff, simulate the end of the world. And they they'd hold up in some kind of empty factory, make charcoal, water cleaning thingy bobs, you know, because they had scientists with them, and like the handyman guy was really good at like making all sorts of everything. But yeah, that show got cancelled because they fucking killed the lad. The actors went overboard. They threw a brick through a window, went through the window, got a guy in the head, he fell down the stairs, show cancelled. But anyway, that's probably a video for another time. I watched all of that. I loved that show. Pity they took it so real. So yeah, that's some of the people I remember from Milan. Tell me this. Who were your favourite contestants from Milan? Jog my memory on them. Also, are you looking forward to the new season? New season is in Africa. It's gonna be different. Right, I gotta do more to this base. I gotta make it bigger so I can build all the new things. But yeah, I'll keep cracking away at this. I'm still on Twitch if anybody wants to pop over and hang out. Link will be in the description. You can come join this server too if you like. Let's say there's Merwin on there saying hello to me. Howdy feckers. Yeah, everyone's welcome to come in. My link will be in the description for my Discord. Get the password for the server, pop in. Next video we'll talk about something else. Maybe zombies? What do you reckon? Walking Dead? What would you do or alien attack or something like that? Put your answers in the comments. I'm thinking of making this a series. I'll keep playing this game, of course, but I think I'll make it a series talking about all different survival related things. Maybe aliens, zombies, cannibalism, crashing on a desert island from a plane. I don't know. Any ideas? Pop them in the comments. Anyway, till next time.